What's good, world? It's been a minute since I tapped in. So much going on in my life. It's Justin Dunlop here, gov't. You know, I came across a few things since the last time we spoke. One of them was the Reconciliation Day up here in Canada that's long since passed. I believe that was in September. You know, I don't push my convictions on other people, and the Bible tells you not to. It was a difficult lesson learned, especially during COVID. I always wanted to help people and warn them, don't take this. I see so many people I know injured now. But, you know, despite it coming from a place of love and concern, it's not up to me to push my convictions onto others. You know, everybody's got their burdens and everybody's got to walk their path. That's why I recommend you got to hold God's hand tight in this life. I'm telling you, if you don't hold God's hand tight in life, the worst nightmare I could ever think of out there, for men or women, is that you're so severed from your Creator, you know, that you have nobody in your life, no family, no friends, and your faith isn't there in God, so you're completely alone. I see so many people out here, like as I'm looking at you right now, you can see in my eyes, I'm here, I'm present. But I see a lot of people, they just look right through me. There's nothing behind their eyes. They're so wounded, or I'm convinced at this point, I know the government, I don't trust nothing the government or media says, rule number one. But 50% of this world, according to, I believe it was a CIA study, American government study, that 50% of this world is soulless. Explains a lot, you know. The Matrix talks about a lot of this stuff. People in video games, NPCs, non-playable characters. I guess that extrapolates to real life, huh? But you're never alone. You have God. You got to turn to God, man. You got to get right with Jesus. Loneliness is very real. Trust me, loneliness is real. And when you make the choice to walk with God, it becomes realer. And you have to, and this is because it's a battle. It's a constant struggle. And I noticed looking back in my life, it's a constant battle between the flesh and living in the spirit. I've been getting a lot better since my divorce of living in the spirit. I find now that the closer you get to God, the more you walk with God and hold His hand, the more you read the Bible, the more you operate on God's frequency of love and kindness and truth, the less you want to sin. I'm embarrassed of my sin. I've repented for it. I repent daily. You'll never be sinless. We were born into sin. But the sacrifice God gave of Himself through Jesus to purify us, knowing that He made us sinful, was such an honorable trade. And if you don't get to know Jesus, man, you're selling yourself short. The consciousness of Christ is incredible. You know, I've noticed up here in Canada, it's so subverted now. Christianity's been persecuted for a long time, and I understand why Jesus warns of that in the Bible, that He says, my followers will be persecuted. And you know what? It's the truth. You look at now, you have Canadian federal Minister of Parliament, Mark Miller, liberal minister, cabinet minister maybe, I don't know. Anyways, this guy's trying to make reciting the Bible, certain passages of it, and posting it online as hate speech, which is criminal in this country. Classified as a criminal act, let me say. It's criminal that he does it, period. But again, when it comes to politicians, you already know my thoughts. They're demons. Never conflate laws which are demon-made, not man-made, demon-made, and justice, which is God's. God determines justice. Look at my body type, man. I'll tell you right now, I used to always think when I didn't know any better, you know, just because I'm strong physically, I can exact all the revenge, all the justice. It's not my responsibility, man. That's God's. You need not interfere. God is watching. A lot of people always talk to me, you know. I'm in the gym. I'm actually sitting out front right now, about to go get out of up here. When you got so much going on up here and the flesh is trying to get to you, that's Satan trying to tempt you to his side. Go into the church of iron, I'm telling you. You go in there, wherever I'm at, I praise God. It's what it's about. You know, there's a few of us in the gym that talk about God. You know, you don't need to go to church. If you found a good one, that's cool, man. You know, that's your fellowship. But it states in the Bible, where two or more people come to praise God and discuss God, that is your church. That's your fellowship. You know, churches are just like a lot of other things too. You know, they're corrupted. Just like politicians, you know, poly meaning many, ticks, blood-sucking parasites. There really is, let me put it to you this way, it states in the Bible that this world is a battle between the principalities of good and evil, not of the flesh. And I really understand that now, I'm telling you. You see it every day. I was reading something, I'm just looking here in the phone. My beard's getting gray, which I really don't care about. I think it looks good when it's gray. You know, the old, what did they always call it when I was younger? The silver fox. Gray-haired man or woman and gray-bearded men. Well, I mean, now a woman be having beards, which is wild. But I mean, again, that's all part of severing your frequency between you and God, the Creator, because you look at demons referring to himself as they, them. That's what they do here. You know, you have pride. The father of pride is Satan. People all the time, Pride Month, this and that, you know. Nobody has rights in this country of Canada. I want to make this very clear to you. The Charter of Rights and Freedoms in Canada was repeatedly trampled on in COVID and repeatedly trampled on since. Your rights to mobility taken away. Your rights to bodily autonomy, freedom of speech taken away. It even states in the charter, and the government says it too. They openly laugh and admit it, because that's what demons do. It's a theory of being complicit. They tell you what's going on, so you can't deny it and say, well, I didn't know. They didn't say nothing. They tell you. It's a satanic thing where they believe they're absolved if they tell you what they're doing. You know, oh, I'm evil, but I told you I was evil. That's why the Bible says reject all evil, man. I still can't even believe people go out to vote. But, yeah, no, in the Bible it says that, you know, and of course I'm paraphrasing it because I don't have a lot of it memorized, but I was just reading the other day in a book that it said gray hair is the crown of the righteous, and it's the path of the righteous. Basically, if you have gray hairs, you've been you've been following your path with God, and this is in my opinion, and you're rewarded for it. And it's a privilege to grow old. There's so many people who sacrifice their lives for this country, and I came across something today that showed for all I know it could be a bot, but someone was saying, you should buy a poppy. November 11th, Remembrance Day is coming. Why am I going to wear a poppy and support the Royal Canadian Legion? During COVID, they refused entry to James Top, a decorated veteran who marched across Canada not only once but twice on foot to protest COVID mandates. Denied him entry to be there despite serving. They enforced COVID mandates for vaccine statuses, if you were jabbed or not, during that time. So I'll be the first to say, go fuck yourself. You know what? The very people who sanctimoniously and virtue signal pushing this poppy rhetoric are the same ones who so hypocritical and blinded that they don't realize that it's antithetical. They are going against the very reasons that these poor men sacrificed their lives for in the wars before us. It's ridiculous out there, man, what people choose to believe. So you're supporting someone who wouldn't even support the troops that they were claiming to support nowadays. It's a joke out there. You look at our military as a joke anyway. I feel bad for them. They're forced to buy their own gear. Can you imagine that? It's not enough you give your life up. There's zero standards anymore. Your deportment is trash. Dyed hair, piercings, morbidly obese, their fitness standards along with their deportment are gone. What else is there? The attrition rate of military is horrible. Everybody talks about, I don't want to be American, elbows up. I mean, give your head a shake, buddy. Do you really care what banner, what flag you're under anymore? It's a corporation. The cost of living in America is so much cheaper than it is up here. Up here, it's outrageous. Taxes are like 62% now. You are working that much, 6 months of the year for free to the government. The police have given up here, man. Municipal police in different regions, one I can think of. Toronto police came out and said, hey, man, home invasions are on the rise. Just leave your car keys at the front door. Don't put your family at risk. They just want your car. Police have absconded from their duty. I forget what municipality service it was. And they fully admitted that an oppressor, to prevent our officers from having mental health stress. We just don't make arrests anymore. We don't enforce anything. We don't try and maintain public safety and they just shift the blame. They abscond from their duty that they're sworn to protect the citizens, but I'll touch on that in a second, by putting it onto the judicial branch and saying, well, the courts just let them out, automatic bail. That's true, but that's no reason. This is why I tell everybody, don't conflate law with justice, and don't be so naive to think serve and protect means the citizens. Serve and protect means to serve and protect the state's interest. That's it. Earlier today, I was out somewhere, saw this young girl, probably, I think she said she was like 29, 30. She's wearing slippers and it's cold outside. And I was just driving by in a parking lot and I said, are you wearing slippers? And she's like, oh, you're too old for me, buddy. And I just said to her, I'm like, how presumptuous are you? First of all, you don't even look that good. Second of all, just because someone talks to you doesn't mean they have sexual intentions. This young generation's cooked. Men, if you're listening, Stop looking for your soulmate and start searching for your soul mate, if you get what I'm saying. You need to search for your soul and fortify it, because women out here these days, they're so masculine now. The generation's so cooked that they date in a transactional sense. And that's just women in general. You look at women in general. Once the benefits are rendered, they're out of there. A woman, man, I'll tell you this right now from experience, a woman, you're only as good to a woman as her emotions are towards you. The moment her emotions change, your relationship changes. And that's just the way that goes. It never changes. That's why now you have to look for a lady. Look for a woman who loves God. Because a woman who loves God will be committed to you. A woman who is godless is a slave to her emotion. That's why people don't get it. They think it's an insult, the term bitch. But when a man calls another man a bitch, it's because you're acting like a woman out there, man. You're acting irrational based off emotions. And hey, I get it. I did it in my life several times, God knows too. Emotions get the best of you. That's why in previous videos I've always said you have to master your emotions. If you don't, your enemies will use them to manipulate you. It happens all the time. When you lose control of your temperament, it's over for you. Look at me. If I lose control of my temperament, the worst part, the one who suffers the most is me. I'll inflict the most damage on everything, but the most damage out of all that will be to myself. Whether it be jail time, whether it'll be loss of loved ones, loss of a job, you name it. You can't afford to lose your emotions out there. You can't get irrational. When you're dealing with a woman, if you don't have the right woman, you got to make plans to sever that tie. Anything in life, you have to let go of everything that doesn't serve you a healthy purpose. Nothing in this life is permanent. I've learned this now. At 43, it took me a long time, but thank God I've learned it. Because we come here with nothing and we leave with nothing. But yet we lament on all the things we had or should have. Just work hard and be grateful every day. That's all you could do, especially in this country, man. Everybody's so downtrodden and beaten. It's really ridiculous. The economy's severed. I have my own business. All the wealth is left. All the people with wealth are leaving, or they don't want to part with their money, despite the fact that they know they need protection. It's very difficult. You have so much mass immigration here that it's diluted every single part of the economy. People will be, no matter what industry it is, the mass immigration that comes here will outbid their own self to get a contract. They dilute their very own product. It's nonsensical. It's antithetical to what you're trying to do. Everybody could eat if you're smart. You have your own prime minister in this country, Mark Carney. He's a major shareholder in Brookfield Investments. Brookfield Investments is a big-time shareholder in Tim Hortons. Tim Hortons up here, the coffee shop, their coffee tastes like arse. Out west, I believe is Alberta, and in remote Ontario, correct me if I'm wrong, there's been cases of people contracting hepatitis A. That's permanent liver damage, brother. Just from what? Drinking a shitty coffee that tastes disgusting and costs the most money? It wasn't that long ago Tim Hortons wouldn't let unvaccinated kids in their day camps. Why do you want to support this shit? Who wants to hurt a child? Ideological poisoning is demonic. You want to hurt a child, it says in the Bible, those who hurt children will be better drowning at the bottom of a lake with a millstone attached to their neck compared to what God's going to do to you. Don't hurt God's kids, man. We live in a time in this country, it's almost 2026, where the Supreme Court of Canada just recently decided to remove minimum sentencing from anyone convicted of child pornography, possession, or whatever other offense would be. Possession, sale, I guess. Offenses against a child, egregious offenses. So the Supreme Court of Canada, and this is why I say laws and justice are two different things. They'd rather protect the predator, the nastiest of people who would hurt children, rather than protect the victim, innocent children. What the fuck is going on with this place, man? You have, going back to the military here, you have one of Canada's generals, and there's more generals now than there ever have been, you know, just bloated administrative salaries, rather than, of course, supporting. You always support the top, right, guys? Don't support the soldiers at the bottom. You know, all you used to ever hear is the top-down approach, bottom-down, top-down approach, whatever it was. That shit don't mean nothing, man. You look at every time there's a big corporate reconstruction, government's no different. It's a corporation. We're corporations. That's why on your mail, your name's capitalized. When you're in your private home, to which you don't even own, you pay taxes on it every year, land tax. Your name isn't capitalized. You are yourself. But outside of your house, you are now a corporation. The government of Canada only deals with corporations. This is common law. That's why I tell people, man, look, you don't even have to register your children at birth, but people have been so conditioned to do so. You register, anything you register is going into an agreement with the government where the government owns half of it. Marriage, driving. You don't need a license to drive. You're traveling. There's a difference between driving and traveling. This is how they get away with licenses. And what did they do with licenses? They always attach fines, because that's how the government gets involved. They have to make their money. People pay taxes. Why are you paying taxes? It's a scam. They print money. If they can print money, you don't need to pay taxes. But I could sit here all day and talk about the government. Fuck them. Governments are evil, period. I've never met a altruistic government for its people. I could say God bless Rob Ford. He was a municipal of Toronto councillor, became the mayor for the people, for the children, sacrificed his own time and money to coach Don Bosco football in Toronto. You know what? Poor man had cancer, was dying from it, decided to medicate himself, you know, albeit with, you know, a very bad drug, crack. But you know what? Who am I to judge anybody? That's not up to me. You know what? I couldn't imagine going through having cancer, man. And then it's his business. Let him decide to deal with it how he wanted to. But the media ran him out. And you know why? Because he stopped the gravy train. That was a big saying of his. Stop the gravy train. Going back to Canada's military, man, you have one of the generals who was crying in the weakest display ever. Crying about, what was she crying about again? Was it land acknowledgements? It was something so weak, I can't even remember it. I was just so disgusted when I came across it, I stopped reading it. It's, you have out in British Columbia province, if American viewers are watching, it's like a state, a province. It's in the far west above, I guess, Washington. So yeah, in British Columbia, they have a land of First Nations area settlement in a city called Quaquilum. I think that's how you pronounce it. Their superior court, which would be state court, has decided any landowner now has to forfeit their land to First Nations. First of all, when do we stop this entitlement? Nobody was around for this time. People came to Canada, the Whitey ancestors, to settle it. Let's not act like the natives here weren't savages killing each other too. It was paganistic. No matter where you go around the world, pagans were savages, Vikings, natives, you name it. Savages. That was the way of the land. I'm not judging it, but that's how they lived. You take over, you rule, you live, you survive. But let's not act like they deserve something. It's like reparations. What do you deserve reparations for? I wasn't alive to enslave you. You weren't alive to be a slave. You know, and the joke of it all is that, you know, you always hear, and it's manipulating. It's manipulative tactics. Oh, this guy, nice Corvette. You have people who will manipulate you, and it's always politicians saying, well, you know, you deserve everything. They foster an environment of entitlement. They say you're hard done by, you deserve reparations, you know, racism, slavery. First of all, racism still goes on. And I'll tell you right now, in Canada, racism against white people's all-time high. And you have idiots who sit there and say, well, it's your time to have it. You deserve it. Now you know how we feel. What do you mean how you feel? I've never been racist to nobody. I grew up in an all-Jamaican neighborhood as the only white guy. One or two white guys, I should say. You think I would have survived if I was racist? I paid attention to Martin Luther King Jr. Judge people by the content of their character, not the color of their skin tone. But my, they don't get taught that during their Black History Month. Again, being manipulated. You know? Most of the people I know have black skin. I don't give a shit what color skin you have. It doesn't matter to me. It's what's in your heart. It's, do you follow God? Do you follow your faith, and are you good to one another? But, you know, people don't realize, look at the States. First registered slave owner was a black man, Anthony Johnson. Go look it up. But they don't tell you this, do they? Who do you think sold the slaves in Africa? There was no white people there selling them at that time. Black people selling them, selling other black people. And it was all funded by Zionist movement. So, I mean, people don't get what's going on, man. They believe whatever the news tells them to believe. You look at your school books produced by Zionists that changed their name to, I think it's Ryerson McPherson. They got to disguise their name. That's why so many actors in Hollywood change their name. They have stage names because they don't want to have their Jewish name. And I don't know why that is. I can make guesses as to why, but, you know, whatever. You do what you wish. That's free will, right? What people don't realize is we have free will. We were given free will. But it's up to us to align our free will with God's will. And God is all truth. Everybody likes to argue about, oh, if God is all truthful and all loving, then why do babies die? And why does Satan exist? And first of all, I'll tell it to you like this. God didn't create Satan. He created Lucifer, who is one of the most beautiful angels. Lucifer chose to not align his free will with his father's. And that's where evil comes into play. Evil is the absence of God. Lies, the absence of truth. So when he became evil and started to get all the tendencies with evil, jealousy, entitlement, resentment, bitterness, anger, hate, lust, you name it all, he had to be banned for that. But people fail to realize too, even Satan serves God's purpose. He's here to tempt us, man. Satan's never going to punish people who follow him, one of his kids. He doesn't need to. That's why they always get rewarded. Everybody always wonders, how do the wicked stay so far ahead in life? That's only right now. Don't be so short-sighted. In life, pain is inevitable. Suffering is always our choice. You have to concede that. Everything is your mindset. The secret to success is that there's always a lesson in a loss. And a loss is not always a bad thing. You gotta trust that rejection is redirection. Men, if a woman leaves you, regardless if it's your fault or not, if it's your fault, then figure it out and better yourself so it doesn't happen again when the opportunity rises. If you didn't see it coming, like me, you know what? Took me a lot of time to reconcile this when I was healing, but you know what? I gotta say thanks to God all the time, even just for waking up. And that's first and foremost gratitude. Gratitude is the grandfather of all virtue. Gratitude, then patience, grace, all those. But you know what? You gotta learn to let go, man. True love never fails. If love fails, it was never true. If people want to leave, let them leave, man. And I'm telling you this, man, I know it's hard out there. I was seeing a stat that within the first year of divorce, suicide rates are 70% for men. That's horrible, man. Divorce tore me apart. I still deal with it. I still struggle. My struggle now comes from where I'm so fatigued with women. I just want to talk. I haven't found a woman that's capable of a deep conversation, so I don't get into it. But they're so cooked out here that they can come and talk to me, and I'm at the gym and they giggle and they look at my muscles and they fawn over it or whatever, and they're living in the flesh. I have no lust anymore, man. I don't care. I just concede to the fact that when God deems me ready, he'll place a woman that we can place him together in the middle of our lives. But you gotta learn to let things go, man. If someone doesn't want to be around, fuck them. They don't want to be around. Let them go, man. If you can do better elsewhere, that's not an insult to you. Or even if you feel insulted, what are you going to do about it, Are you going to sit there and cry and just end it all? Or are you going to make a concerted effort to improve? Because that's what the name of the game is all about. Self-growth and improvement. Every day, all day. And that's not to slight anybody that knows people who've taken their own life or who are thinking about it. If you're thinking about taking your own life, man, reach out to me, man. Reach out to anybody. There's helplines. But I'm telling you, I've had a very close brother of mine do this years ago, man. And it was over a girl, And it's always going to hurt, man. I love him so much, man. If you're listening up there, Chad, I love you, man. I wish I knew what you were going through, man. You held that burden in. If only I knew, I could have helped you, brother. But, maybe one day we'll see each other again. It's, the world lacks grace and kindness, man. And I always tell people the reason why when they ask me why I'm so kind is because I don't want you to feel what I've had to feel, what I do feel, what I've had to endure. I'm not saying I've had the harshest of lives too, because someone's always got it bad, man. But there comes a point to your life where you no longer want to see people hurt. And it pains my heart. It breaks my heart to see people going through it, man. Unhealed parents are a child's worst enemy and their first enemy. I see parents yelling at their kids all the time, man. Don't yell at your kids. Control your temper. Have your children. Man, if you have a daughter, set the tone to the point no matter how hard your life is and how much you have to claw and scrape to get by. Or if you don't and you have everything moving on, firing on all cylinders, show her what the pillar is of what she can expect and deserve out of a man and accept nothing less. If you have sons, show them what it is to be a man, to be patient, to be strong, to think before you speak, to add value to people's lives, not just your own. I didn't grow up with parents, man. My father was murdered when I was 6 years old. My mom kicked me out at 10 years old for knocking out her boyfriend, who was extremely physically abusive to me. Other abuses to my other siblings, but it's not up to me to discuss that. That's their business, and God knows I can't stand it. But you know what? The streets raised me, man. I was raised by drug dealers, by crack dealers, man. And I'll tell you, parents, if you're out there, don't delay your kid's life, because an emotionally delayed child will commit so much self-sabotage, and you can avoid all that, man. Just love your kids, man. Hug your kids. Be patient with them. Be kind. They're going to make mistakes. They shouldn't be, because a child that's afraid to make mistakes becomes that same adult. And they just go into a shell. Don't yell at me. Don't. They're just still living like a child. You have to let go and distance yourself from your trauma. You can't be bonded to trauma. I'm telling you out there, man. The more you stay bonded to your trauma, the less you'll grow. You know, out here in this country, the economy's dead right now, man. You have politicians like pigs at the trough, at the feeding, I don't know what Americans, if they call it troughs, at the feeder where pigs eat out of, you know. The politicians here know their time is up. It's only a matter of time before this place gets annexed. You have politicians sitting here like Doug Ford, our province of Ontario's premier, or what would be the equivalent of a state governor, trying to interfere in American Supreme Court decisions by making false claims and releasing an ad, a political ad, about a former president. First off, you spent $75 million when people are living in tents out here and everything is outrageous. I go to the grocery store and people are trying their hardest to figure out how they're going to eat. They're putting down things now. It costs more for 5 apples than it does a shitty bag of cookies. What is going on here? It makes it, you know, every day I sit here, I look at myself on a side note and go, damn, why did I come back up here, God? I came up here not realizing, I came up here to save my marriage. And it wasn't until I started listening to George Bruno, the Sultan of Savage. Shout out to you, sir. What a blessing from God that man's been. And by the way, go check his channel. I have an hour-long podcast on there with him, man, talking about mindset and other things. I've learned so much from that man. That man is great when it comes to grief support for men's loss, breakup, recovery. I learned a lot from him, and I've used it to help other men. But you can't save the men. You got to save the man, is what I'm trying to say. That's from George Bruno, quote from the man himself. Save the man, not the marriage. I didn't know that then. You know, I started hearing him say that. I started listening to him talk about building yourself again. The Bible talks about the measure of a man is how many times he can build himself up stronger each time in God's eyes. Every time he falls, some tragedy befalls him. That's why you have to be resilient. You have to work yourself out, not only just physically, but mentally and spiritually. It's all harmony. The mind, body, and soul. It's what Christians refer to, or Catholics, as the Catholicism. Corrupted beyond belief, but they refer to it as the Holy Trinity, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. The Son is your consciousness, Christ consciousness. The Father is God, and the Holy Spirit is within us, and God is within us. If you want to see God, it's within you. You have to change. You have to change how you view the world. But it's also important to observe evil, but not absorb it. You can only reject all evil if you recognize it. If you don't recognize it, you're going to fall victim and prey to it. But, going back to Catholicism with the Pope. I'm not making fun of Catholics out there, man. You know, my family was Catholic, but the only good thing my mom did right was not force Catholicism on me. You look at all the Catholic priests that have sexually assaulted boys and settled lawsuits over it. The church protects them. You look at the Pope himself, who's a Freemason, who gives his sermons in front of this giant throne. First of all, only God has a throne. So you are being sacrilegious and blasphemous. But his throne has like snakes and bones and all this. Very evil and demonic. And then the same speech room where the throne resides is a giant serpent's head that's illuminated in red. You don't believe me? Go look it up yourself. But yeah, man, men, sharpen your mindset. I'm telling you, you will find like-minded energy. And if you are finding that everything around you is bad, it's because you're not getting the work done inside. You're not close to God. You're not healing. You don't have to go to a gym. Just go out and walk. If you live in a building, go do lunges in your hallway. Climb the stairs. Do push-ups. Every time you see scaffolding at a construction site, do pull-ups. Buy a pull-up bar and put it in your door and bust pull-ups. You know, do squats. You got to get your body, your mind, and your soul right. When any of those are out of harmony, life is going to be difficult. And out here, it's a spiritual battle, man. It's a battle alone just to walk in the spirit every day, because temptation's everywhere and not in the flesh. Yeah, I don't know what else to talk about right now, you know. Oh, the economy out here, man. To the Americans watching, you might have the opinion that Canada hates you. We don't hate you, man. The media will portray the narrative they wish to spin. It's not any different than what your media is down there. The minority of Canadians, although there's a lot of them now, who are sanctimonious, virtue signaling, do whatever daddy government says, they blame everything on President Trump and America rather than their own government, who's been destroying this place systematically for the last, I don't know, couple decades. There was a report not too long ago that showed from Canada's federal police, which would be the RCMP, who have also found to be corrupt, that they had information to arrest Justin Trudeau, former prime minister, aka our version of your president, for treason. But of course they protect him. They have evidence going back from 1992 when I was a youth. All the governments back then federally all have been influenced by foreign interests. And I mean lobbyists, other governments. It's no secret China owns Canada right now. The CCP, the Chinese Communist Party, has police stations in Toronto and Markham. How do you have another country have sovereignty over your own? That is ridiculous. But yet, to tie that all up, when America, your brothers, your neighbors, say, hey man, do you want freedom? Let us help you. You fight the person that you're biting the hand that wants to feed you. It's Stockholm syndrome. You sympathize with your abuser. They believe the words of politicians and celebrities that don't even live in this country, who are also American citizens, who have American registered businesses, who reside in America, but they come up, take the taxpayer money from the government and make fake, false lies. And that's what the government speaks about, or sorry, the Bible speaks about. You know, don't bear false witness. You know, don't refrain from speaking evil. Don't bear false witness and lie. And these people do. They do it for money. It's evil. It's satanic. You're going to be judged for it, man. People have no idea how short-sighted they are. But Yeah, Americans, man, the majority of us love you, man. I always tell people, the time you spent hating is less time loving, and our purpose here is to love. So, I pray for annexation, because I'll tell you, the thought of the possibility of no income tax, the possibility of automatically having a 30 cents on every dollar, 30% stronger currency, military might, no border for work, 100% tax deductions, better cost of living. I mean, America's got its problems too, but you know what? Ever since they've closed the borders down, they've been getting things under control. Do I like a lot of Trump's policies? Yes. Do I disagree with a lot of stuff he's doing lately regarding Israel and Benjamin Netanyahu and Zionists? Yes. I don't get it. It perplexes me. But you know what? As long as he's doing good for his people, that's what should be happening. It's the world's a stage out there, you know. People sit there and say, oh, well, he's a Freemason too. You know what? That very well may be. I don't know any president that's not. That country was built on Freemasonry. There's a pillar for it, that the first pillar that was built in Washington, D.C., you look at the way that's even designed as a city planning, it's designed in a Freemason symbol. But the first pillar has an inscription on it, if I'm not mistaken, a Freemason scripture. Your first president was a Freemason, George Washington. Look at your dollar bill. Your dollar bill has 13 stripes, 13 stars or something like that. The all-seeing eye above the pyramid. Don't get it twisted. I love America, man. I don't love governments, period. People always say to me, oh, I don't want to be American. I tell them, well, why wouldn't you be? During COVID, because I wasn't vaccinated, I wasn't welcome to have my surgeries up here. God bless a surgeon down in Oklahoma, Dr. Davis, one of the best surgeons in that state. I think he does 80% of the osteosurgeries, bone surgeries. This guy was willing to help me out. The state of Oklahoma, God bless you, man. I've resided in Los Angeles a long time ago. Love that place. I love Texas. Love upstate New York. But, Buffalo's a lot like here. Rochester. People don't understand. They're just like us. But Canada's lost its way into thinking that they're better than everybody when they're really not. Canada they say, I don't want to be invaded by the States. But yet you stay quiet when you're invaded by 20 million mass immigrants from India and Africa. And it's not the working class ones like I grew up with. And even then, you have to understand the nuance too. There's a lot of Indians that come here, man. And the ones I talk to, they're downtrodden because they were lied to get here. They need their tax money. They need them to use them to manipulate them so employers can save 90% of a salary. That's tying back to what I was talking about with the Prime Minister in Brookfield and Tim Hortons. A lot of companies here will hire foreign workers. It's called a LIMA request, LMIA. And they hire temporary foreign workers because the taxpayer sucker subsidizes 90% of their minimum wage, which is $17 an hour. You do the math. So the company is only surviving based off of paying less for the manpower. This economy's cooked. You had our Premier of Ontario release that ad, and he claims, and the Prime Minister claims, that the Prime Minister knew about it. And then when Donald Trump, the president, says enough is enough, I won't tolerate this, you're interfering with our politics, I'm cutting off all free trade now. You just cut off 80% of what subsidizes this place. America's been feeding us for a long, long time, my whole life. So now instead of 20% and saying, thank you, sir, whatever you want, sir, no problem, sir, showing some gratitude, you decide to mouth off like a petulant child. That's a good way to put it, petulant children. And then what happens? Now you cry victim. Oh, America's the bully. Oh, tariffs, this and that. Retaliatory tariffs are retaliatory. If you do not place tariffs on the states, they will not place tariffs on us. 2 countries in the world that kept tariffs, China and Canada. What did I say earlier about China owning Canada? It's really nasty what's going on here, man. To any American watching this, man, come liberate us, man. You guys, when I was growing up, we were taught America was for liberty and freedom. And Americans were very proud and patriotic. I always looked up to Americans and thought, wow, I wish I was American. Canada's whack. And you know what? It's gotten worse. It's gotten worse here. And we need liberty, man. Forget about Ukraine and all that money laundering going on there and everything else. We need liberty. But to any Canadian watching this, stop fighting it, man. It's going to happen whether you like it or not. It's only a matter of time. It talks about it in the Bible. What's going to eventually happen is governments are going to form a 2-world government, like European Union and then North American Union, then merge into a 1-world government. And that's where you'll see Satan rise. And that's when God comes to wipe the slate clean again. And Jesus comes down. He's like, nah, enough of this. This ain't happening. It's happened before with the great floods. You know, the Nephilim, the giants, the perverted men having babies with angels having babies with children, or with women, and then they became children that were half angelic and half human, is what I meant to say. But hey, you know what? This video's already been too long. It's almost an hour. Love each other. And love each other, and give your kids a hug and a kiss, man, and teach them something. And never stop learning, never stop loving, and God bless you and have a good day, man. Follow my socials on Twitter. It's J Novax. On YouTube, J Novax. On Instagram, it's Justin Dunlop 9, I believe. If anybody's looking for any close protection, executive protection, high net worth individuals, celebrities, athletes, residents that need community protection, home protection, consult my website, bwprotection.com, Black and White Protection Group, Inc. Service all of Ontario. I'm considering moving my business. If it wasn't for tough immigration laws for America right now, I'd already be down there. I'm telling you, all my business, all wealth has moved down there. The film industry stays down there. And I don't blame them. You want to keep jobs in your country. I don't blame you. Canada should have been looking to do the same, but instead, this country's been selling. Canada has been communist for a long, long time, my whole life. It's just they hid it, and now it's out in plain view. Everybody always tries to say, is the world getting increasingly more evil? No, it's just the veil's lifted, so you're seeing the evil now. It's always been evil. God always tells us, do not love the world, for you don't know what it is to love him, and I understand that now. Don't trust your heart, men. Your heart is deceitful. God knows what's in your heart. Read the book of Proverbs, men. It's better for a man to roam in a desert than to live at home with a quarrelsome woman. You got to choose a lady that follows God. This is the mistake I made. You know, I think back to how my ex-wife set up our marriage to be in a non-denominational setting, meaning not involving God. I involved God in my vows, and she didn't. When I said to her, how can we deal with a divorce? What about our vow to God? And she had told me I didn't make a vow to God. That blew me away because I remembered just then that she didn't. And you know what? It's been 1.5 years and I haven't heard from her. Hey, you know what? Whatever. I love you. I wish you well, man. You do your shit from a distance. And yeah, I just hope you have a better life, man. I thank you for your time. I no longer choose to miss someone. And I know last video I said I always love my wife, but that love's lost now, man. I'm grateful for the time we had together, but man, I'll tell you right now, when a woman wants to leave, they become mentally unstable. That's how they cope. You become the bad guy of their story. That's how they cope. Don't ever believe in the lies that are being sold to you. Don't buy them. Distance yourself immediately. The moment a woman says, I need space, it's over. Okay, have all the space you want. Any disrespect, disloyalty, thank them for it. Treat it with a distance. Okay, you can be that way. Just do it over there. If they want to say it was all your fault, so be it. But you know what? Get away from mentally unstable women. Men, you would do well to chase God more than you chase woman. Don't ever chase a woman, man. This fire truck coming by. Pray to God everybody's okay wherever they're going to respond to. You know, that's a thing that was taught to me when I got my B class license, which would be driving municipal buses and anything down from there, school buses, etc., ambulances, fire trucks. In the video, a guy said, I wish I pulled over for a fire truck, man, because it turned out it was my home on fire and I lost my wife and kids. And I'll leave it at that. Make sure you pull over when a fire truck comes by. Don't be so ignorant to say, oh, I don't have time for this. I gotta get home. There's no rush for safety, man. Safety is paramount. When I used to operate streetcars for the Toronto Transit Commission, on the waybill they give you, it always says safety takes precedence over timing. So yeah, anyways, I'll leave it at that. I gotta go get this in here, make a few calls, try and drum up some business. Again, if anybody wants to contact me, you have my socials. Men, if you need help, get at me. If anybody needs crisis intervention, counseling, get at me. I can help you. If anybody has any business dealings, Black and White Protection Group Inc., Google me. bwprotection.com. Search for us. My partner and I, more than willing, 30 years of experience in law enforcement, close executive protection, aka bodyguarding, private security, risk mitigation. Can't be a good sign if paramedics, ambulance are far behind. God willing, that person's okay. Yeah. Take care of yourselves, folks. Survive. And remember, everything is a battle of up here. You could either wake up and be your best friend or your worst enemy. And I'm telling you, you want to be your best friend. You got to learn to be kind and love yourself first before you can do that to others. And on that note, I'll try and get back to you again a lot sooner this time. Forgive me, there's been a lot of difficulty in my life, but you know, through God's grace, I'm stomping through it one day at a time. Love y'alls. Peace.